Welcome, everyone. I am Lieutenant Colonel Declea Gibson, Joint Base, Langley-Eustis Public Affairs Chief. First name is spelled D-O-C-L-E-I-A. Last name G-I-B-S-O-N. The purpose of this briefing is to bring you all up to date on the aircraft crash that occurred on Langley Air Force Base yesterday and to answer any questions you may have. After the brief, we will allot 10 minutes to answer your questions. I ask that you keep the questions focused on the air show and the recent aircraft crash. I also want to remind you that this is still an ongoing investigation, so there may be some information that we don't know the answer to at this point. Each media outlet will be limited to one question and one follow-up. Please raise your hand until I acknowledge you, then state your name and your affiliation for the record. This will help to ensure you get your follow-up information that we may provide. Toward the end of the briefing, I will indicate how many more questions we have time for. If time permits, additional questions will be allowed. All comments are on the record. At this time, please silence your electronic devices. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we will have Dan Boggs, first name spelled D-A-N, last name B-O-G-G-S. He's the National Transportation and Safety Board President, followed by Air Force Colonel Matthew Altman, first name spelled M-A-T-T-H-E-W, last name Altman, A-L-T-M-A-N. He's the Joint Base Langley-Eustis Installation Commander. And with that, Mr. Boggs.
Good afternoon. As she stated, my name is Dan Boggs, and I'm an air safety investigator with NTSB. I'm here to discuss the accident we had yesterday at about 11:35 with an experimental MX air show aircraft. The aircraft was coming in to land on runway 8. Still under the investigation. It's undetermined at this time why we lost control, impacted terrain beside the runway between the taxiway and the runway, and unfortunately the pilot succumbed to his injuries. I did arrive on scene this morning. We have moved the aircraft at this time. We'll be taking it to an off-site location, and over the next 2 to 3 days we will be doing a detailed examination of the flight controls, the engine, any avionics that may be installed on the aircraft. Behind the scenes, we'll be also looking at the pilot qualifications, looking at the maintenance records, the maintenance logs, the weather, and so forth, anything that pertains to the aircraft itself. I do want to take time and on behalf of the NTSB, give our sincere condolences to the family and friends of a well-known pilot. I will not be issuing his name at this time. That will come from the medical examiner later. As just for dates, we will take about 2 weeks to write a preliminary report. I will get the preliminary report once I get home, get it out. After that, and we get the factual information downloaded that we need, it takes between 12 and 18 months for a final report to come out. I do absolutely want to thank the cooperation of the Langley Air Force Department here. I tell you, it was just top notch. The colonel and his team, I couldn't be happier with. Every support aspect, from removing with heavy equipment, the professionalism, and just the team of officers that I spoke to all day today has just been top level. At that time, as it pertains to the rest of it, I would like to turn it over to the colonel, please.
Good afternoon. I'm Colonel Matthew Altman. I'm the Installation Commander at Joint Base Langley-Eustis. On behalf of all of the men and women of Joint Base Langley-Eustis, I'd like to offer again my deepest condolences to the family and friends of the fallen pilot. The world of aviation has truly lost a legend, a hero, and even more so, a great human being, and that really cannot be overstated. Team JB Elite continues to support the NTSB investigation and the family of the fallen pilot as best as we can. We also continue to appreciate the tremendous support from our military community and all of our community partners in the Hampton Roads region. I've always had a deep respect for those who fly, and over the last 24 hours, I've gained even more of a tremendous appreciation for the aviators and professionals that orchestrate these air shows and the air show community. And based on consultation and their strong recommendation, consultation with the NTSB, and our team's preparedness to execute a safe air show, we've decided to proceed with the Air Power of Hampton Roads Air Show this weekend as scheduled. And at this time, I'll be happy to stand by for your questions.
Well, Colonel, is there going to be any changes to the air show operation because of what happened?
As of this afternoon, we've received all of the other aircraft that were scheduled to arrive. And so at this time, the majority of the flying schedule will be as planned. The air show boss and our team are still in consultation to develop the final plan, but largely the weekend will execute as originally planned.
Can you talk about how this crash maybe, if at all, has impacted just other operations here at the base?
At the time of the crash, our airfield was closed in preparation for the STEM event that we orchestrated today and the air show. So largely, our military operations were not impacted. Additionally, our teams on the airbase wing side were poised to support emergency response. And so they did what they're trained to do. And I'm very, very proud of their performance and their ability to help respond to this tragic incident and recover not only the flight line, but recover the base as well. This pilot's loss, as everyone can appreciate, has been felt deeply by the entire aviation community and especially all of the performers that were here. It's a very close family. So every single one of them, I'm sure, will pay tribute and pay homage in their own special way. At this point, it's too early to determine if there's going to be a formal element. Clearly, this loss will be on all of our minds and in all of our hearts. And we'll always all be thinking about his family throughout the weekend. And so not only do we hope that this air show is yet again a great opportunity to welcome in the community and still celebrate the joy of air power and the promise of air power and all the inspiration that brings, but we do hope that it's also a tribute to his legacy and really his wizardry in the air.
Mr. Rogers, can you tell us, was he, the pilot, was he on a straight-in approach when he was attempting to land?
Yes, he was just coming in just for a normal landing. There was no acrobatic maneuvers or nothing planned at that time. Just coming in, I think he was going to have a debriefing later of what today was going to involve.
And was there any impediments on the runway or anything at the time, or weather related?
No, not at all. Mm-mm.
I know the NTSB has four classes, four types of investigations that they can do. They do aircraft investigation. Can you say what class or what type of investigations?
Yeah, so generally like a class 4 investigation may be an example of a pilot that admits fault. You know what, I forgot to put the landing gear down, my fault, the airplane is fine, and we will do an investigation, but it'll be a class 4 and we just take the general data and it's a data gathering. And the next one is a little bit higher up, a class 3, which would be a limited investigation that there's a little bit more substantial damage to either the aircraft or serious injury to the pilot, where maybe the main structure, the main spars, something of the main components are damaged. A higher level class 3, which is a fatal accident like we have here today, we launch on those. We launch on every one of them. We always have an investigator on scene as quickly as they could make it here. And then you have a field major, which can be a partial board launch up to a full board launch. And then we have a major accident, which involves something with a Class 121 operator, a Delta United, something of that level, which is a full board launch.
But you don't get which this is going to be?
This is going to be a higher Class 3, a fatal field.
And can you tell us more about the aircraft itself?
The aircraft's a single engine, single seat, really specifically built and designed for air shows. It's the pilots that fly in air shows love the power that comes out of the engine. It's usually 300, 350 horsepower, almost double what you would have on a normal small aircraft that you see flying around. Short wingspan, but high sensitivity and flight controls. For snap rolls and flips and rolls. It's just an all-around stunt airplane, and it's just well respected in the air show community.
So I know you work closely with the FAA, but you don't anticipate in this case, since it's custom made, there's no other like models that those pilots would have to be concerned about. Like obviously, when some of the Boeing Max stuff happens, everybody was put on notice. That's not this case. I can only ascertain, right?
Not at this point, but we don't know that yet, because what happens now is now that I'm going to take the aircraft and go off site with it, I'm going to examine everything with the aircraft. If I find something during that investigation that the industry needs to know about, we will immediately put out a safety bulletin for all pilots that fly that class. Hey, be on the lookout, or we're looking at this or something, but we just don't know yet. We're not there.
Can you say if there was any radio communication between the pilot and the tower prior to the crash?
Well, it is a control tower, and he was speaking to it, and we are getting that download as we speak. It hasn't been done yet, but I will get the entire communications of between the tower and the pilot. Yes.
And you said again the contact was made between the taxiway and the runway?
I'm sorry.
Did you say the contact was made between the taxiway and the runway?
In the dirt. Yes.
From any preliminary investigation you guys have been able to do, was there any indication that the pilot may have tried to avoid the crash, or it just appears something where they just went straight into the ground?
Well, we don't know yet. We're getting some witness statements that were along the roadways and sideways, and whether they're aviation people, they see it one way versus non-aviation. So we're going to put all that together.
I was going to ask that question. Is there anything either of you need from the public right now?
I think the individuals that we usually ask that if there's any witnesses that are out there that have not responded to the NTSB witness website, they can write in what they saw. We've already were a little proactive with that with the Air Force and got that word out. Since it was on the property, it's more housed to the Air Force personnel, but we have put that out there. And again, if there's anybody that was driving in a car or just happened to see the entire accident sequence, I would like to hear about that. Okay.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today at this press conference. We thank you for your attendance. I will be sure to get any responses to any of your questions. If you have additional questions and follow-up, you can definitely contact our Public Affairs Office or send it to our media inbox. I will be available in the back of the room if you have any quick additional questions. The questions that I can answer are questions about the air show, about the base specific, not about the accident or the investigation. With that, thank you and have a great day.